We arrived in Kyoto in the early evening, with dusk already setting in. We didn't really have an itinerary planned for tonight since we were pretty tired from the flight and the train ride from Kansai. We, however, were pretty hungry. After getting settled at our hotel, we found this small Tonkatsu restaurant a block away. It was small, cozy, and food tasted amazing. That first hot meal after a long day of airport lines, long flights, and train rides, yeah, that sort of meal is one of the best experiences in this world. We later found out as we were paying that it's also a Michelin-rated restaurant, so that was pretty cool. Shout out Tonkatsu Ichiban. Arashiyama and Sagano were the first tourist areas we visited during the trip. Located on the outskirts of Kyoto, it has a bit of a rural feel to it, which makes it a pleasant spot to explore and walk around in. There's the famous bamboo forest, a sea of vibrant green stems that seemingly have no end. It makes for a nice, calming stroll, being surrounded by so much plants and nature. Shops and restaurants are scattered around the area, and we decided to have some ramen for lunch from a nearby shop. A nice, warm, welcoming bowl to fill our stomachs after a morning of walking around. We had a lot of time to kill after lunch, so I spent the afternoon exploring the area some more. Cafes, snack carts, and restaurants are all around the place, and there was just so much life from both the locals and tourists visiting the area. I love taking photos of the busy streets, the storefronts, the convenience stores, just capturing how life unfolds in Arashiyama. The Sagano romantic train also treated us to these great views of Japan's landscapes, and it was a pleasant ride watching the country's scenery pass by. From the Sagano train, you can get off at Toroko-Kamioka Station, which greets you to a scenic walk of around half a kilometer. You get a great view of Japan's countryside, just rolling fields right before you. You'll eventually reach Umahori Station, a small yet scenic area in the midst of grasslands and meadows. From here, we took a train back to Kyoto. Oh boy, Shijo and Kawaramachi. Where do I even begin? One of Kyoto's main shopping districts, these two streets are buzzing with life, people, and shops you'd gladly blow your money on. We went back to this area thrice during our entire stay in Kyoto, and even then I don't think we were able to fully explore it. There's a number of thrift shops, and we had fun trying to hunt for some cool pieces we could take home. There's also flagship stores if you're looking for something brand new. The streets are always lively, with people walking around, checking out stores, or grabbing a bite at a restaurant. Trucks are making their deliveries here and there. There isn't a shortage of life in this district. It's a pretty busy place. But if you need a place to sit down and take a break from everything happening around you, coffee shops also abound. We stayed for a bit at the Do Tour, helping ourselves to some coffee while taking a much needed break. And if you get hungry after a whole day of shopping and walking around, there isn't a shortage of places to eat from either. The area takes on another life at night, filling the dark with vibrant signages and the inviting aroma of a freshly cooked meal, perfect for those tired dinners after a long day. Dubbed Kyoto's kitchen, the Nishinki Market is a street that spans 5 blocks and is filled to the brim with food stalls. It was probably the busiest and most crowded space I've been to the entire trip. Just people everywhere, left and right, in front of you, right behind you. The funny thing is, we were pretty full when we crossed the street, so we didn't really end up buying anything, save for a single crab stick. Kyoto is a calm city. It likes to take life slower compared to other cities in Japan, like Tokyo or Osaka. There's still hustle and bustle, especially at the busier transport hubs, but the overall vibe of the city is a lot more peaceful compared to others. The streets are quieter, the mood is more peaceful, and there's just a sense of stillness throughout the place. I already mentioned this in a previous video, but there's really just something special about Kyoto. It was an experience I haven't quite felt before. The Fushimi Inari Shrine, arguably one of Kyoto's most popular tourist attractions. And for good reason too. It's beautiful, picturesque, and is really a sight to behold. Thousands of bright orange torii gates line its trails, creating a beautiful contrast against the natural greenery. Statues of foxes, believed to be Inari's messengers, are scattered throughout the place. Though visitors are free to go hike all the way up to Mount Inari, we chose not to do so. Still, it was a beautiful place to be at. A perfect mix of traditional Japanese architecture and the nature that surrounds it. It's honestly a no-brainer as to why the spot is just so popular. One of Kyoto's most prominent geisha districts, Gion is an area along Shijo Avenue. Lined with traditional Japanese facades, it kind of feels like you're stepping back in time to an older Japan. The shops and restaurants, though, host all sorts of modern goods. We really just walked up and down the street during our visit, not really entering any stores, nor did we check out any of the geisha performances, but I still had a good time snapping pics here and there. Nights in Kyoto also hit different. If the mornings felt peaceful, the night was something else. A different kind of stillness took over. Not in the spooky sense, but in the sense that the city felt absolutely serene. The night was something that was sacred in Kyoto, and it brought with it the kind of peace that demanded to be respected. The Yasaka Pagoda, also known as the Hokan-ji Temple, is a 46-meter tall structure nestled within a neighborhood in Higashiyama. The place gets crowded with tourists later on in the day, but we were fortunate enough to catch it with fairly empty streets. We were there early on in the day, so we took the time to catch breakfast before heading to the next stop. The Nijo Castle is a step back into the past. A beautifully preserved part of Japan's feudal history, the castle itself gives you a glimpse of the country's architecture at that time. The structures are well preserved and maintained, and they're just beautiful to look at and take pictures of. The place is also filled with gardens, adding a sense of tranquility to your visit. It's a pretty busy area, but worth visiting if you're looking for some traditional Japanese architecture. One of the things I love the most about Japan is how fast food doesn't really feel like fast food. For our lunch today, we decided to hit up Matsuya before going to our next tourist stop. It was a small space and there wasn't a lot of people eating at the time. I got myself a gyudon bowl and a beer, and yeah, it doesn't taste like it's filled to the brim with preservatives or anything. It feels and tastes clean. Again, doesn't really feel like fast food. A golden pavilion situated in the middle of a pond, Kinkaku-ji is a beautiful piece of architecture. Similar to Nijo Castle, the place is very picturesque, offering views of great architecture situated in serene gardens. Outside, I also took the time to snap some shots of scenes that caught my eye. On our final night in Kyoto, I took the time to take one last evening photo walk. I usually don't stay far from our hotel, but tonight I decided to walk deeper into the city center, simply because I didn't really know when I was going to be back here. The hub of the city is where it really comes to life. Unlike the quiet streets near our hotel, this area is buzzing with people and activity. Bars and restaurants filled with customers, store signages lighting up the night, the smell of smoke and cigarettes, the chatter of locals and foreigners alike in the bars. I took my time with my final night, not really wanting to rush anything. It felt refreshing, being alone in the city in the evening. It felt freeing. I didn't have to keep up with anyone, I didn't have to keep on going if I wanted to pause. I felt Kyoto at my own pace, at my own time. And it felt pretty amazing. Of course, the hardest part of trips are their endings. On our final morning here in Kyoto, I woke up a bit earlier than everyone else just to have one last walk around the city. Like the night before, I didn't really have an agenda. It was just an aimless walk around Kyoto, enjoying as much of the place as I could before we had to head to the airport. It was a sunny morning and the city was slowly waking up as I took a walk around. Most people were on their way to either school or work. The smell of coffee was in the air. I take more and more photos because it's the only way I know how to preserve these memories. I'm thankful that I got to experience this city, and it's things that I'll be saying goodbye. But as they always say, I'll smile because it happened. Till next time, Kyoto. Thank you for an amazing adventure.